Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 18, verse 66. Bhagwan Krishna in the last verse said, "Fix your mind upon me, be devoted to me, worship me, surrender to me, and 100% you will reach me." This is a promise I give it to you, Arjuna. We are all Arjunas. Manmana bhava mat bhaktah madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pradijane prayosi me. So that is what Bhagwan Krishna said in verse 65. Important verse. Now verse 66. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वभावेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. One more time. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वभावेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, the previous verse, that is verse 65, it sums up Karma Yoga. This verse, that is verse 66, it is a complete summing up of the topic of sannyasa. In this verse, renunciation of action through knowledge, that is jnana karma sannyasa, and sannyasa as a lifestyle, they are pointed out. This verse deals with 1. Vividisa sannyasa, that is sannyasa as a yoga or a means in terms of a lifestyle. This lifestyle, this sannyasa, vividisa sannyasa, it is a result of karma yoga. So you cannot directly come to this. Practice karma yoga, then come to this. Then 2, jnana karma sannyasa yoga. That is, it is result of living vividisa sannyasa. Jnana karma sannyasa is renunciation of all actions by knowledge. Knowing that I am not the agent. Therefore, this verse is complete summing up of the topic of sannyasa. So, 2 types of sannyasas. Vividisa sannyasa, jnana karma sannyasa. This verse deals with both. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, this verse is considered to be the last verse of teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita teaching ends with this verse. Bhagavad Gita started in chapter 2, verse 11. Bhagavan said, Ashocyananvasochatvam Prajnavadamsha bhashashe Gadashu nagadashumsha Nanushocanti pandidaha. Hey Arjuna, you are talking like a brilliant pandit, but I am sorry to say, you are grieving over things on which you should not grieve. But you are talking like a pandit. What can I do? That is how the Bhagavad Gita started. Now the teaching ends here. Ma shuchaha. That is, do not grieve. You are grieving over things on which you should not grieve. That is the starting point. Bhagavan ends it as, don't grieve. Therefore, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to remove sorrows. Bhagavan in this verse says, take refuge in me alone. I will free you from all papas. Therefore, do not grieve. Take refuge in me alone. I will free you from all papas. That is what Bhagavan is saying. Now, sarva dharman parityajya. The question is whether dharma includes adharma. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes Adi Shankara here. When it is said that dharma should be given up, sarva dharman parityajya, it also includes adharmas. That is, completely giving up all karmas. As long as one is subject to karma, one is in samsara. That is in this life cycle, birth and death. Therefore, one has to be free from all karmas in order to be free from samsara. We all know Gita is a moksha shastra. Gita, as a moksha shastra, provides means to get rid of all karmas. It is impossible to get rid of all karmas by exhausting them one by one. First, I will finish this, second, I will do this, third, I will. It is like waves. It is impossible to get rid of all karmas by exhausting one by one. They are countless. Further, it is also not possible to give up all actions because Bhagwan already said, even for a second, no one can remain without action. If somebody asks you, what are you doing now? I am simply sitting idle. So even sitting idle is an action. Or even if you are sleeping, that is also an action. So Bhagwan already said, nobody can remain without action even for a second. So what is the way out? There is only one way. Actions are given up only by sheer knowledge. That is jnana karma sannyasa. By appreciating that Atma is actionless. It is not an agent, nor it is an object of any action, nor connected in any way to any kind of action. Simply present. By nature, Atma is free from all karmas. That is what one has to appreciate. The notion by which one thinks that one has given up. I have given up all karmas. That is the notion. That should also be given up by knowledge. That is, the notion of agency should also be given up. Then the question arises, how can one give up all actions? So Bhagavan says there is only way, only one way. Mam ekam saranam vraja. This is true. Even if actions are carried out to fulfill our desires, that is kamya karmas, or actions enjoined by Shruti, Vaidika karmas or Shauda karmas, or those enjoined by Smruti, that is Smarta karmas. All the karmas are given up when one takes up the life of Vividisha Sannyasa, that is a life of sannyasa for pursuit of knowledge of Ishvara. Thus, Ishvara is the only refuge. That is why Bhagavan says, Mam ekam sharanam praja. Surrender to me. What is the aim of your life? That is also important. Is the aim of your life dharma, artha, kama, or moksha? Purusharthas. What is the aim? If dharma, artha, and kama, if they are the end in view, then karma cannot be given up. Because they can be achieved or gained only by performing karma. If moksha is the end, that is the aim of your life, then karmas have no value or purpose. They are to be given up. That is why in the Vedas there are two portions. First portion talks about karmas, which are the means to achieve the dharma, artha, and kama. The second portion, the last portion, contains Upanishads. That is a separate section. That is meant for moksha. In that portion, karma is not the topic, but jnana is the topic. When Bhagavan says, me alone, mam ekam charanam vraja, me alone, what does it mean? Me alone. Why Bhagavan Krishna said, surrender to me alone? Is it because if you go to other gods, then you won't be able to, they won't be, the gods won't be able to give moksha, or you won't be able to get moksha? Is that the reason why Bhagavan said, me alone, surrender to me alone? Some people interpret that you must surrender to Bhagavan Krishna alone. He is the only God. He can only give moksha. No other God. Whichever God you say, whether belongs to Hindu religion or other religion, no other God can give moksha. That is what the view of some people. Adi Shankara says, when Bhagavan says me, he is meaning it in the sense, he, that is Bhagavan, is the one who is the nature of all. Slightly tricky, but let us understand. All the things of this world can be divided into two groups. One is Chetana, which is sentient, and the other is Achetana, that is insentient. Chetana includes from Brahmaji to the smallest insect, mosquito. Achetana is inert materials. Bhagavan Krishna is saying, I am the very nature of all of them. Why? Because he is the cause of all the things in this universe. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, both Chetana and Achetana, they are nothing but the five elements, the Panchabhutas, the five basic elements. All that is here is either Sukshma Bhutas, that is subtle aspects of elements, or Stula Bhutas, that is gross aspect of those elements. If we analyze in terms of consciousness, from a provisional standpoint, we can say all these elements are really inert because everything other than Chaitanya Atma is inert. When we divide things into sentient and insentient, what is insentient and what is sentient? Insentient is that which has no subtle body. That is, Sukshma Sarira is not there. Rock, for example, sand, anything you take, chair, it has no Sukshma Sarira. Sentient is that which has a subtle body. Mosquito, we ourselves, we have a Sukshma Sarira. The concept of inert and consciousness is only from a point of view. In fact, everything is one consciousness, that is Brahman. Swamiji says, try to think of an object minus consciousness. It is not possible. We can call it inert, but the very fact we are seeing it shows it is not away from Atma, that is consciousness. In sentient object, there is presence of subtle body, that is Sukshma Sarira is there. For example, ourselves. Because of Sukshma Sarira, I am able to speak. Otherwise, I become insentient. The consciousness expresses itself as a knower. Consciousness, Chaitanya, is present everywhere. This is very important. Consciousness, Chaitanya, is present everywhere. There is no question of there being anything away from Chaitanya Atma, which is Brahman. Therefore, Adi Shankara says, the Lord Sarvatma, that is, he is the nature of all because he is the maker and material cause of everything. This is based on the principle of cause and effect. The effect is non-separate from the cause. Then the next question is Sarvatma and Atma are different? When one says, I am the self of all, that is Agam Sarvatma, where does this I, Agam, that is Agam, come from? Is it not enough if it is said Sarvatma alone? Why? Agam Sarvatma is there. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, no, it is not enough. The reason is, it is possible for one to construe that from Sarvatma, Atma has modified into this world. So, from Sarvatma, Atma came. That is what it is possible for some to construe like that. Therefore, it has to be said that Atma has not modified. It transcends everything. It is also immanent. If it is said that it obtains in all things, Sarva Bhutastha, then one may think if Atma is inside you, then it is not outside. That means what? Everything else is separate from you. Hence, both the statements, Agam, Sarva Bhutastha Atma, that is, I am the very being of all living beings, and I am in the form of all beings. I repeat, I am the very being of all living beings, and I am in the form of all living beings. If I can put it simply, I am the material cause of all the beings, and I am also the efficient cause. Even though consciousness is present in everything, it is only the conscious being which is in the buddhi that can be known as the same consciousness. That is Atma. The whole creation is standing in the same Chaitanya Atma, which means that Ishvara obtains in everything. Not fractionally, but in full measure. This is also very, very important. The whole creation is standing in the same Chaitanya Atma, which means that Ishvara obtains in everything, not fractionally, but in full measure. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, suppose if there is one big lump that is distributed to everybody, then everybody will have a bit of it. Suppose laddu is given to small portion to several people. Each one will have a bit of it. If it is consciousness, can it be said that everyone has a bit of consciousness within, like the laddu prasad? Each one is having a bit. Swamiji says no. Consciousness is Satya, the only thing here. In our buddhi, there is Purna Satchidananda Atma. The same Satchidananda Atma alone is Ishvara. Therefore, the Lord, who is everything, Sarvatma, is the one who obtains in all beings, Sarva Bhutastha. That means Atma is Sarva Bhutastha, one that is present in every being. We understand that Atma is Bhutastha, that is, it is immanent inside every being, like a thread that passes through every pearl in a pearl necklace. We have already seen Sutre Maniganaha. Are Arjuna, I am like the unseen thread in the pearl necklace. That is what Bhagwan already said. It is immanent, it pervades everything. Bhagwan already said in chapter 13, know me as the knower of the Kshetra. In all the Kshetras, Kshetra is what? The body, mind, senses, and the entire world. The one who knows the Kshetra is the Kshetrajna, Atma. Bhagavan Krishna said, know me as the Kshetrajna. He also said, understand yourself to be the Kshetrajna, and that Kshetrajna is myself. Again I repeat. Bhagavan said, know me as the Kshetrajna. I am the Kshetrajna. Then he said, understand yourself to be the Kshetrajna, and that Kshetrajna is myself. Swamiji says, this is Mahavakya. Further, Bhagavan said, know me as the essential nature of all, Sarvatma, and obtaining in all, Sarva Bhutastha, same in all, that is, that which does not undergo any change. Being whole, it is complete. It is always the same. It is also equal. In everybody's heart, in every living being's heart, there is one Atma. And that Atma is whole. That is Purna. It is the same fullness in all beings and it does not undergo any change. Therefore, Ishvara, the Lord, is also that which is not subject to destruction. Achyuta, free from getting into a womb. Therefore, not born or subject to death. Atma is not born, unborn, and not subject to death. Who is that? Bhagwan Krishna says that Ishvara is myself alone. I am that Ishvara. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. There is some more. We will continue tomorrow. Verse 66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja agam tva sarva bhavebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchaham. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja agam tva sarva bhavebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchaham. Hari Om. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 Narayana